My name is Maria Grazia Cucinotta, and I am an actress from Italy. I starred in Al Pacino, James Bond movies, and many other productions. I was lucky enough to be a judge at the Shanghai International Film Festival, and I have become fascinated by China. Now, I'm back to this amazing country to see with my own eyes how it is changing. But to discover its secrets, I need someone professional to guide me.
My name is Brian Linden. I'm from Chicago in the middle of the United States. I have now settled down in China's southwest province of Yunnan. I first came to this country in 1984, and now my life is inseparable from China. My good friend Maria Grazia asked me to be her guide in China. It's going to be a journey full of surprises and insights. I'm so happy to be a part of it.
We're starting our journey in Shanghai, my favorite place in China. A modern and dynamic city has attracted people from all over the world. I have been to Shanghai many times and was impressed by the changes in the city. Now, I hope Brian would take me to discover some old stories I didn't know.
Hello,
Brian.
Maria.
Nice to meet you.
Today.
Yes. Oh, thank you for sending me all these beautiful photos. They're amazing.
These are all pictures from, 100 years ago in Shanghai.
It was crowded, yeah.
It was
Activity.
crowded.
It was already huge.
Let me show you here.
Yeah.
So, do you recognize this scene?
Yes. So this building is that one.
Along the Bund here, you have about 50 heritage buildings.
Before this trip, I saw some videos of Shanghai. An American photographer, Isaac Upham, took videos about Shanghai 1 century ago. However, flourishing cities are only part of China at that time. Just as what he explained on the subtitles. Millions of Chinese are born, live, and die on junks. Now that I can see Shanghai is so different from those videos. The cities are different, and so is the state of mind of the people. What is that, changing China so much? I hope to find the answer on this trip.
I've been coming here for 37 years. All you see is China reinventing itself. And I believe this is one place where you see that constant evolution and the openness of China.
Yeah.
So you ready?
I'm ready.
The next day, I went to the streets with Brian. He told me that many buildings in those old photos have been preserved to date. He decided to take me to look for them.
Over there, let's see.
Is it that building there? Or?
I don't know. Let me see from the street because I can't see very well.
So what you're looking at is the old customs house.
Yeah.
Very, very famous with the clock on top and the old Shanghai Bank. The customs house was actually built by the British. Shanghai, Hong Kong, Qingdao, and a number of other trading ports were run by Western powers 100 years ago, and Shanghai was the most international of these ports. So this is your second test.
Okay.
And again, it's pretty easy.
Let me see. Here it is.
Exactly. The Peace Hotel right here. This is a little complicated
Yes,
if you look.
it is. I'm already lost.
But I think it's like right there.
The tree wasn't here.
No, that guy
On the foot of these buildings, I seem to be back to the Oriental Paris 100 years ago.
Let's go.
How do we...
I don't know, let's ask.
I see...
Though Nanjing Road is as busy as it was, the pedestrians have totally different states of mind compared with those 100 years ago. I become more curious about what makes the change.
You see this building? We made a mistake.
You did a good job. Congratulations. These beautiful old buildings are just like exotic flowers blooming in China. And the country Maria and I are tracing in the photos is not the real China.
I'm so happy.
The real China is hiding behind these buildings, behind the shanty towns, behind pairs of eyes that thirst for changes of their fates. In order to improve China's poverty and backwardness, to allow those in the bottom to have more decent lives, a group of young people devoted themselves to finding a way out for China.
It's fascinating to discover what lies behind this busy city. But how does Brian know so much about it?
How old were you when you got here?
I was 22 years old.
Wow, so young.
During those early times when I was at Fudan University researching these young intellectuals, I was inspired by their story, inspired by their attempt to take something from the outside and apply it to the contemporary and to the problems that faced China at the time. I think to understand contemporary China, we have to understand those ideas of the young intellectuals. After living in China for many years, I have become aware of an important fact. It is the strength of the people that brings the greatest changes to this country. Those young intellectuals are among those people. They decided to unite and establish a party to change the country and the fate of their nationals. In 1921, in this house in Shanghai, a meeting was held, but soon interrupted by the police. The participants came to this lake over 100 kilometers from Shanghai to continue the meeting on a boat, away from prying eyes. It was those young men who founded the Communist Party of China. They boarded a boat similar to this boat, and they continued really the Communist Party's Congress agenda and finished it here in Jiaxing. The Communist Party took the ideals, intellectual ideals from the cities, from the intellectuals, and really adapted them to China's indigenous kind of situation.
It's incredible to think that something that changed the world all started just here.
In order to let Maria know China better, I decided to introduce her to somewhat interesting foreigners. They are very similar to me, having lived in China for extended periods and know this country very well. Most of the outside world did not know what was happening with the evolution of the party. I mean, this happened in 1921. It really wasn't until 1936 when an American writer, Edgar Snow, ventured up to northwest China, where he really told the story of the Communist Party to the outside world.
Brian surprises me with a gift.
This is a first edition of Edgar Snow's The Red Star Over China. So it was printed, published in 1938. There's an inscription here that was written on January 26, 1938, by the book's first owner. And it was written for his younger nephew to say, learn from some of the ideals of this book. Edgar Snow, an American journalist, came to China at a pivotal time in history. In the late 1930s, the world was in turmoil, with Europe heading towards war and Japan gearing up to invade China. The Red Army formed by the Communist Party of China had already moved to northern Shanxi and formed a political base. Snow was curious about this new movement and his book recorded what he saw and heard in the revolutionary base.
According to Edgar Snow, the locals were a little wary of the newcomers. First of all, he wrote, many people supposed the Reds to be a hard-bitten lot of outlaws and malcontents. I soon discovered that the great mass of the Red soldiery was made up of young peasants and workers who believed themselves to be fighting for their homes, their land, and their country. When reading those touching descriptions, I can't wait to ask Brian to take me to Yan, a place of dynamics and romance as told in the book.